Hello, Comms 321. My name is Ashanti Bauer, and today I will be presenting on Chapter 7 of Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death. Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death is a critique of how television transformed public discourse into entertainment. Postman argues that television prioritizes spectacle and entertainment over substance, making it harder for audiences to critically engage with important issues. I chose a passage that stood out to me because it captures how television doesn't just misinform, but it also creates what Postman calls disinformation. This idea feels more relevant than ever in today's world of social media. The passage I've selected is, quote, "Disinformation does not mean false information. It means misleading information, misplaced, irrelevant, fragmented, or superficial information that creates the illusion of knowing something, but which in fact leads one away from knowing." Quote. I chose this passage because it perfectly captures Postman's critique of how television reshapes the way we understand information. To situate this passage, let me explain the context. Right before this passage, Postman talks about how television redefines what it means to be informed. Instead of fostering deep understanding, it prioritizes entertainment and shallow engagement. He uses Reagan's misstatements as an example of how the public and the media lose interest in serious issues if they aren't entertaining. Right after the passage, Postman expands on this idea by discussing how the fragmentation of television news destroys coherence. He highlights how unrelated stories and advertisements like reports on nuclear war followed by a Burger King ad make it hard for audiences to process information meaningfully. I chose this passage because it stood out to me as the heart of Postman's argument. It explains the concept of disinformation, which is highly relevant not only to television, but also to how we consume information today. What I found most compelling is how Postman describes disinformation as creating the illusion of knowledge. This feels very true in our world today, where we often think we understand issues based on headlines or sound bites, but lack deeper context. This passage also challenges us to think critically about the kind of information we consume and whether it truly informs us or just distracts us. This passage connects to Postman's broader argument that television has turned public discourse into entertainment, undermining our ability to engage with serious, meaningful issues. Specifically, the idea of disinformation highlights how television, and now social media, fragments information, making it harder to think critically or connect ideas. To me, this passage also relates to how platforms like TikTok or Twitter operate today. Just like Postman's critique of television's this style, Jesus. These platforms prioritize short, attention-grabbing content that often lacks context or depth. For example, viral sound bites or clips might spark outrage or discussion, but without the full story, they can mislead us, creating the same illusion of knowledge that Postman warned about. Ultimately, the passage reminds us of the importance of seeking our deeper, coherent, and contextualized information in a world that prioritizes spectacle over substance. In closing, Postman's critique of television as a medium that entertains rather than informs is incredibly relevant today. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter have only amplified the issue by fragmenting information even further. This passage serves as a reminder to seek out more context, ask critical questions, and ensure that we are not just consuming disinformation, but actually learning something meaningful. Thank you.